We're going to back out to the West Coast, and it's a longtime Viking fan, Mike from Los Angeles. Mike, close us out strong.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, Pete, as everyone has said already, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, man. We really appreciate it. It's really a privilege.
Thanks for listening.
Listen, I want to switch gears a little bit and take you back to your playing days and the difference between the game now and when you played 15, 20 years ago. And specifically, I'm talking about the rules. I mean, there are so many more rules in place now to protect the offensive players than when you played. I mean, I understand protecting their health, of course. That's the utmost importance. But now it seems you can't breathe on a guy without, drawing a flag. Do you think the rule changes have made the game better? Or do you think it's softened the game? Or are they just better in theory than in actual practice?
I have asked a number of these guys, my former teammates, that exact same question, or at least a version of it, asking if the game is better today than it was back when they played. And a lot of guys don't think so. And I'm kind of that thought. I think for sure the college game has changed a ton, and for different reasons. But the NFL game absolutely has become a game of athleticism. It's become it's not about physicality as much as it used to be. I mean, still you have to be tough and you have to do all those things and hit and run and all that. But when I played, you could, if a receiver came in between the hashes, you could make him pay for it. And nowadays you can't do that. But keep in mind, it's not the DB who is the bad guy in this. I mean, a lot of times quarterbacks will make a mistake. They think they have man-to-man, but they really have zone. Or a wide receiver might make a mistake the same way. You're taught when you see zone, you run. I mean, when you see man, you run, and when you see zone, you settle. Well, if a guy thinks he's playing, get man-to-man, and he's just running, but it's really zone, the quarterback throws the football. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's his own fault. A lot of times, quarterbacks will hang a guy out to dry. He's getting pressured, and instead of throwing it away, he's just trying to throw a ball up, and the receiver goes up for it, and you make him pay for it. Are there malicious hits? Yeah, no question those are. I think those are pretty obvious. I think that the gray area has become worse. That's why I don't think it's better. I think now, there's so much more of a gray area as to leading with the head and, what kind of, you see it, guy gets hit hard. It's almost like there's a flag thrown because the guy was hit hard, and you see the replay and you're like, the DB hit him with the shoulder. It was a completely legal hit. It also takes away physical players and smart players, because back in the day when you could jam a guy at the line of scrimmage, you could use technique and you could use intelligence and physicality to overcome maybe being a step or two slow. Now that the game is so wide open and it's so much like flag football, you got to have guys that are athletes, and they got to be able to run above and beyond everything else. So a great 40 time and looking good in drills means more, because that's kind of what the game has become. It's become, a little bit of flag football in the back end. Now it's good for, the fantasy fans and people that want to see a lot of points scored and a lot of yards caught and everything else. But overall, for the quality of the game, I don't think it's better. Now, you hit that directly in the face when you talk about the health of players. Is it a healthier game today than it was when I played? Absolutely. I think what they're doing for concussions and everything else is going to benefit these guys a ton. We won't know the results of what they've done now for another 20 years as these guys get older. But it's a safer game, no question about it. But is it a better game? No, I really don't think so. And in a lot of ways, it's probably had to come to this level. Now, can they go too far and take even more away from the game? Well, that's a possibility. But that's for guys like the commissioner to figure out and let them deal with it. But I still love it. It's still the best game on earth, no question about it. And just hopefully they don't change it too much more.
Well, Pete, for the fans and for me here, the thing I miss most about the game is where else are you going to get a chance to see guys like you and Mike Morris holding hands on a kickoff wedge? You can't do that anymore.
No, I mean, the other thing too, and I've said it before, is, and we interviewed John Randall. I mean, how often are you going to find a guy who's an undrafted rookie free agent in any sport make it into the Hall of Fame? And oh, by the way, there are a lot of them in the Hall of Fame. Brad Johnson, look where he was drafted. Chris, I mean, it's just, you just don't see it in other sports. Because in basketball, it's all about athleticism. In baseball, it's hand-eye coordination and those kinds of things. You just don't see it as much in other sports as you do in football, and that's why I still think I coached a guy, Heath Farwell, who went to a Pro Bowl, who was an undrafted free agent, a guy who barely made the team. Gets his first chance and has a couple penalties and. Is lucky to get back on the field and later, a couple weeks later, and then when he did, he never looked back. And that's what this league's all about, and that's why I love it.